The Viviers collection will really range from ready-to-wear pieces, but the ready-to-wear will still be editioned. So maybe one of 2, one of 3. It will range from ready-to-wear to couture. So the overall process of the garment being created isn't like a sausage machine in a factory. I think it's also more special for someone buying a piece that they know there's one of them or there's one of 3 of them. Everything is so beautifully considered and then hand cut. I'm definitely focusing more on the art world. So art collectors, artists themselves, radical thinkers.
Is that your business model? Do you think it's going to be sustainable just to sell few pieces to...
Yes. Yes, of course. Yes, at the end of the day you need to pay salaries, you need to pay overheads. But to me, the luxury of time to create something beautiful for a person, and they know what they're investing in, they understand the process, they understand all the people and the hands involved creating that garment. They would see it more as an investment piece, like an art piece, than something that they quickly buy seasonally and throw out 2 months later when it's the spring, spring clearance. So I think yes, there is definitely a market for people, for South Africans who are interested in the arts, and they see the same value in a garment, something that comes with integrity, that is made beautifully.
So we know that in South Africa it's very hard to get access to like great fabrics, and there is a problem getting, and with the import taxes and everything, it becomes very expensive. Where do you find interesting fabrics?
I'm really trying to use the best fabrics that I can find. So I'm using pure silks, pure cottons, pure wools. And this is pure wool that is fused and merged with lame metallic foil. And also something that I really loved was the combination of like high-tech, super organza, but then combined with pure silk. For this collection, I bought most fabrics in London and Paris. And purely because I was there and I had the opportunity to go to all these stores and see what the world has to offer in terms of craftsmanship in textiles. You know, the South African textile industry, I think, is very small or almost non-existing. But I've always made my own textiles as well with prints. I photograph the flowers, I manipulate them digitally if I have to, if I want to, and then they get printed locally. And then from there, then we take it further. So I would also like to work with the construction of this by putting like little details to make it even more like real petals.
Where do you sell the collection?
So currently the collection is for sale here from Lotus House. People can come, they place their order, and then 1 or 2 of the items that are editioned is sold from the rails. In the longer run, I'll find like-minded spaces, people that are passionate about the clothes. So the clothes are not just placed in an environment like a retail store where you have to help yourself to like a rail of plenty, where someone come and they get to know you, have the time and the luxury to speak to you and understand what you like, what your needs are, what you need in your wardrobe. To me, I'm not particularly interested at this stage doing Fashion Week, for example. It's a lot more about that personal experience and creating a piece for an individual.
How do you explain to someone, a potential client or someone who is just interested, why is it important to pay a certain price? What does that price mean, that price tag? Because we're still in a society that consumes a lot, yes. And we've got fast fashion, and we've got to, you know, like there's access to different type of fashion. Can you tell me why would they need to invest in your clothes?
People buy into a thought process, they buy into what you are saying, but then what you are saying and how you are saying it, meaning how the clothes are made, it must speak the same language. The time in cutting a silk dress, people don't understand. You can't cut it in layers like in a factory. Every single garment here, like we've tested the patterns over and over and over to get, in my mind, the perfect fit. Because at the end of the day, I think if something fits well and it's beautifully made with great fabric, that's all you need. Like, you don't need to be over the top extravagant in adding things necessarily. If the fabric's good, the cut's impeccable. To create garments like that and working with these specialized textiles, it takes time. If you think of silk, you know, you put it down, but it moves. So it's a game, it's a dancing, getting the fabric to be perfect. And then to sew it, and again, if you're not rushing it, pushing it through a factory and you're making it beautifully, then it takes more time. The hand finishing, like hand sewing in the labels, doing everything, the little buttons, the press studs by hand, it easily takes 3 days to make what seems to be a very simple dress like this. At the end of the day, I think really luxury is about time and spending time and having the luxury of time, and that's what adds to the cost of a garment.